When Sri Lanka and Bangladesh meet, they promise entertainment and they delivered on it today. They also promise, which they also brought out. Hello and welcome. You're watching Cricbuzz Live. My name is Tanay Tiwari. With me, of course, Ajay Jadeja and Parthiv Patel. A good game, a very riveting encounter that ended with just the right celebration.
Yeah, I mean, you expected this game to be close, tight, maybe the quality different, but they delivered everything. I mean, first you saw Bangladesh come out and score more than what they were expecting or the opposition was. They went past that thing, and then you at least when we were here, we thought it would be tough to get to this total for Sri Lanka. But they've also found a way to get there. Yeah. And couldn't have been a more riveting game than this one. A perfect one. If somebody had to qualify, had to earn 2 points, this is the way to earn it.
Just the way to kickstart your campaign. Of course, that first game wasn't this good. But Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, the rivalry continues. A new glorious chapter added, PPP.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's rightly put it. That, worthy of a knockout game or, whenever we see that there's a contest of equal teams playing. And that's exactly what we saw today. I think that at 10th over when we did Combox, I thought at least that Bangladesh was very much in the game. They had probably had an upper hand. They were probably 65% of chance, but I thought Sri Lanka, batted really well. They paced their innings. Sanaka came in and played his shots, and young Asita. You can't ask for a better debut than this. Yes, bowling wise, he probably might have given few runs, but there was space in his bowling. There was spark, which we saw, and coming out under pressure, hitting those boundaries, hitting those areas. Yeah. Someone, Ibadat Hussain, was bowling well till then, and he came in and hit a fast bowler over cover, and it showed a lot of promise. I think more than sometimes you do not look at the hits, but you look at the temperament of the batsman at this point of time, that someone can handle the pressure really well, and that's exactly what a young player, someone who's got it from under 19, playing first international game, that two pressure game, and handling that nerves. I think a lot of credit to him.
Yeah, it was a game of nerves towards the end. Bangladesh would rue the missed opportunities. They had a plenty of those. 3 no balls, I think 2 of them costing them a lot. The last of which adding to the winning run. Let's see what happened in the game. Sri Lanka, of course, won the toss, asked Bangladesh to bat first. Bangladesh put on the board a very competitive total, 183 for 7 at the end of their 20 overs. Shamika Karunaratne, of course, picked 2 wickets. Vanindu Hasaranga picked 2, but Afif Hussain was brilliant with the bat. Sri Lanka's response with the bat was hindered with Ibadat Hussain's response with the ball. On debut, his first 2 overs yielded just 13 runs and he picked 3 wickets. But then you see that equation towards the end, he yielded 38 in his next 2 overs. Eventually, Sri Lanka winning by 2 wickets. Kusal Mendis, of course, top scored there with 60. Dasun Shanaka batted really well. Pathum Nissanka, but the one name that you don't see there is that of Asita Fernando. He gave away 17 runs in his last over. He also gave away 51 runs, by the way, in his bowling analysis, but came back to level everything. Balance sheet is completely balanced now.
Yeah, it is completely balanced. But when you look at this with Kusal Mendis' 60, he obviously got lucky. But at the end of the day,
it should read 60/4.
60, maybe 180, or maybe 184 for 12 or something.
Yeah.
but that's what happens in the game. Someone drops catches, you don't take DRS and all of that. But that's in hindsight, and then that can happen with any team. But as a batsman, when you know that it's my day, you got to keep playing your shots, and there was, it was not his fault that they didn't take his DRS or someone didn't take the catches. But yeah, it's about making sure that you seize that opportunity, and that's something which Sri Lanka did. The backs was against the wall when Dasun Sanaka came in to bat, and he came in and he said, "There's only one world-class bowler, and everyone else
two. He did mark 2.
Yeah, 2. So he gave respect to them and hit everyone else."
And then Shanaka
is his fault. It's like if we have to go very critically like that, then yesterday the great knock that we all admired,
Surya
was also plumb in front. They didn't go for it. They didn't ask it. But this is all part and parcel of the game. But
Kusal Mendis. Yes.
Kusal Mendis. He's not looking, he's rightly put it, what happened today. But the scoreboard will never tell you that. When you look at those numbers,
of course,
he's the highest scorer. He seems to be, he's nowhere close to the past player that we've seen him, be as good as what he can be.
Yeah.
These numbers look what he's capable of doing. But today was just a scratchy day. It's just like what we were talking about, Mushraf Kure, for Bangladesh. There are periods where you're struggling through, and when you're struggling and luck's not going your way, then you don't get to these numbers. But when you've got to have the quality, and those numbers are today telling you that this is the quality that he can provide, even if he's not having luck going his way.
Yeah.
But then he has to be in form. This is where he's struggling, but luck sometimes works in your favor.
This was a very pivotal partnership, of which Dasun Shanaka was an equal contributor almost, PP, and he also started slowly. I think first 11 balls, he'd only scored 5 runs. But then to accelerate like that, hit those sixes, and we've seen him do this against Australia, as you said on the Cricbuzz Combox as well. He scored, 54 odd of the last 3 overs. So he's capable of this, and today he showed that.
He is capable of doing it. And what we're not seeing is his bowling also. He can bowl a few overs as well. Probably, and then obviously he has a good head over his shoulder. That is the reason why he's leading the side. Obviously whoever is making those decisions in Sri Lanka, they know that he can handle the game. And look at the number which he is playing. He's batting at number 7. Yeah. That's when that's when the game moves. That's when you have to you have to react under pressure. You have to back yourself, and that's exactly what it did. 45 of 33, and the game was almost done then. But if he had not played there, the captain had not stood up, I think Bangladesh was very much in the game. But this 6-hitting ability that every player has now, even if you know that if you take your time, but it's about 3 hits or 2 hits, and the strike rate just goes through the roof, and exactly what has happened. Once you know that you have ability to hit sixes, you can afford to take that time. And especially, I think with Bangladesh is the calculation of bowling. I thought Sri Lanka calculated that really well. They messed up because they had to bowl 18th and 20th over with the spin. So they obviously were looking to try and get wickets early on with the main bowlers, but it didn't work out that way, and hence they had to bowl last 2 overs with the spinners.
Yeah, that power hitting thing that you just mentioned, that's so evident in the way that innings also progressed, because there did come a point where it seemed like they were lagging behind a lot, but then 2 hits and suddenly the required run rate comes down from 11 to 9 or something, AJ. And that's evident here as well, because you see they kept continuing to score those runs, but what these numbers don't show is that there were periods in the middle where the runs were not coming. These are all big hits.
Yeah, if you look at that, actually that's a template to chase down a total. Yeah. Except the wickets that they'd lost at the start, they would not want that. So wherever they started, they only moved forward from 8 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12. But you're absolutely right. I mean, you won't want to leave so much at the end, especially when you don't have wickets in hand. Today they've got over the line, but ideally you'd want to, probably do it a little earlier or differently. But, what were the choices that Sri Lanka had? Yeah. When you started with that, every time, Kushal Mendis was struggling, then the top 3-4 batters, number 3, 4, 5, that you expect so much from, didn't give you anything. So you're bound to, hold you back. And then at the end, eventually, then you were left with no other choice than to go for it. So it was almost the scoreboard that was dictating the way they were going to play. I doubt that it was a Sri Lankan plan to, go in this direction. They would have liked to, get to this total, but in a different fashion. But when you lose so many wickets, then you are left with no other choice but to take it closer. But one thing's for sure, the deeper you go in the game, the more chances you have as a batting team. So that's certainly a template that anybody can pick up.
I think if you can see the progression again, in middle overs, if you look at the run rate, there is 10 run. Between 7 to 10, it's 10.66. Between 11 to 15, it's 11.40. And we were still talking that Bangladesh is still in the game because there were the overs which we saw. There was either everything, maybe 15, 17 runs over, or there are either nothing in it. If 10 and 16, 66 are going, we wouldn't have been talking or we wouldn't have been thinking about that Bangladesh is still in the game. But there have been far too many overs in this inning which has gone over 15, or big overs which we talk about. I think that could be the reason why I think Sri Lanka could chase down this total really well, because it's not a template. It's not something that wickets in hand will take 8 and 9 in the middle and then keep something in the back. But the run rate is still right up there, and there were a lot of dot balls also in between. So
that's a very interesting observation. Is that then selective targeting of the bowlers, or was that just poor bowling in pockets from those bowlers?
I think it was probably the mix of both. I don't think they were targeting. I don't think no one wants to target a bowler when they're playing in the middle overs. It's about once you know that the bowler's under pressure, you try and make sure that you maximize in those overs. If you've hit him for say 8 in couple of balls, then you know that bowler's under pressure. So that's when you have to make sure that becomes a very, very big over. Put them under pressure. Already he knows if a bowler has already given 8 runs in a couple of balls. That means there are 4 balls. He wants to give only 4 singles in those. That's when he's thinking negative, and that's when, as a batsman, if you can put them under pressure, the game changes, and that's exactly what has happened here. Look at the 12.85, 12.85, and Mehdi Hasan has bowled. Mehdi Hasan Miraz has bowled 1 over, and that has been an 11-run over. Except. And if you look at the Mustafizur, Taskin Ahmed and Shakib Ul Hasan, they've been 8, 6 and 7.75.
Yeah.
So they've been always tight overs, and they've been very overs where a lot of runs been scored.
Yeah, so those 7.2 overs amongst those 3 bowlers towards the end have yielded what, 92 runs? So that's right. So in pockets, those runs have really flown for Sri Lanka, and that's what aided the chase as well, as we can see in those run rate numbers as well. The chase really kept getting those booster shots in between.
Yeah, the booster shot. Abbott actually had both sides. He brought them back into the game. After that great start, and then his overs really made it. I think when he had a cramp or whether it was a calf or something, very similar to what happened to the fast bowler from Pakistan, Naseem Shah as well, because if you're cramping and you got to go and bowl that over, as it is, you cramp when the pressure comes on. And so that, I think, the last 2 overs of 38 that he gave were probably the odd thing that went wrong for Shakib. Shakib was planning to play in a certain way. He was banking on him. He'd saved that 1 over right at the end. And that over, he had a no ball as well. So things just didn't go right, because it's still a close game. I mean, you think of 1 over here or 1 wicket here, the game could have gone either way. So these are little things that make a difference. But this cramping thing has happened twice in 3-4 games. So it's something that, all the other teams will have to really worry about, including that 5th fielder coming in as well.
Yeah.
So, these are a couple of things that have come out of this tournament that have been the key. Every tight game that we've had, this one and India-Pakistan, the difference has been the bowlers bowling at the end have got cramped, and they've had to bring in an extra fielder right at the end. And the game's gone right down to the wire. So no matter what you've done for the first 18 overs or 38 overs in the game, you've been at par. Just the cramping and adding another fielder has changed 2 decisions or 2 results of this tournament.
Well, it was the day for the debutants to shine. Asita Fernando for Sri Lanka, who in his last over that he bowled, that was the last over of the innings as well, gave away 17 runs. In total, gave away 51 runs. Ibadat Hussain also gave away 17 runs in the last over, gave away 51 runs in that innings. Picked 3 wickets, of course. But then it was towards the end, Asita Fernando who won those, got those winning runs for Sri Lanka, got them into the Super 4s now. Bangladesh have been disqualified. Yes, you saw this correctly, Sri Lankan fans. Sri Lanka have qualified. They've made it to the Super 4. They will, of course, start playing their encounter starting September 3rd against Afghanistan. Then they play first on Saturday, then on Wednesday, then on Thursday. So Sri Lanka have it packed, while Bangladesh have their bags packed. Will have to pack their bags and go back. And how will they look at it now, Parthiv? Because at the halfway mark, the way they started, there were a lot of question marks after that first defeat. But the way they played, the way they batted, for a large part, the way they bowled, they were on top of the game. They were doing everything correctly. Do they take those positives, or do they lose a lot of heart because they've been disqualified?
I mean, they don't have a choice. Obviously, as a team, when you're coming into tournament, you don't think that you would be disappointed for sure. But I think they don't have a choice. Shakib Ul Hasan, before coming into tournament, has spoken about progress. Has spoken about the rebuilding thing which they want to do it, and that's exactly what they have to look at. They have to look at positives, because that you've been beaten by Zimbabwe, so it cannot get no disrespect to Zimbabwe, but it's just when you've been beaten by Zimbabwe, so you cannot go anything lower than this. So by this, if you look at the progression, 184 was probably a score which they should have defended, but unfortunately they could not. So, and there have been a lot of positives about there. A lot of youngsters have come out and given a proper performance. I say Ibadat Hussain has, probably gave away 51 runs, but the way he started, the way he was bowling, and with experience he'll get better. There is Afif Hussain and Mossadegh, the way he batted. So they have positive. It's not that they don't have positive out of this tournament. It's just that how you're thinking. I mean, where you want to take your team to. I think that's where the buck stops. You have to make sure that you stay positive, because rebuilding is not going to happen overnight. And once you start doing it, once you start thinking positive, one result here and there, and then you suddenly are back on the track.
Yeah, correct. It always takes that first pedal and then the other one comes up and then the wheel starts rotating. But the one thing that Bangladesh did in this game, AJ, was that they promised. And as you said in the mid-inning show as well, they've got a good mix of youth and experience, something that they must build on. But they'll also rue the fact that they were perhaps indisciplined with the ball. Those no balls, those few decisions here and there, that DRS that they didn't take against Kusal Mendes. Towards the end, it did come down to those finer margins.
Yeah, they would rue, the chances that they had. They had the opportunity. But I'm with Parthiv. I think there's a lot more positive because at the start of this tournament, if you see what had happened in the past, where they were coming, at least now you look at that side and you look at Shakib and say, oh, here's a leader. He's running a team in a certain way, whether it's gone right or not. So you've found a leader. You found a way to actually get him ignited as well. Yeah. What you saw first ball from Shakib today, he came and whacked the first ball. Didn't strike it. But, so you got the whole team thinking differently. You got three seamers. I cannot remember Bangladesh ever playing with three seamers. And we were talking...
And some quality ones, express pace.
Yeah, and we were talking about start of the innings that, why they're in this position. Because they only win at home and they make sides only for those turners. So that's why they get stuck when they go abroad. So in that movement of getting better, these are a couple of things that you definitely see that have, you see that addition into that side. Chances, of course, if you've lost a game, especially a close one in the last over, there will be at least 4 or 5 times that you can go back and say, I wish we'd done this, I wish we'd done that. And that is bound to happen. And that even in a winning game, we tend to overlook it, but these things happen. And that's something that they have to keep looking, whether they win or lose. When you're trying to improve, these are little moments that you got to add to your team. And suddenly you add 5 moments like this, you add another 20 runs or you take out 20 runs. Which is a huge margin in this format of the game. But they're on the right track. Hopefully, they'll stick to this side, stick to this captain, and carry on, and not do the change again and bring them back the guys who are not on this tour. That happens when you're, teams functioning in a political system where there are pressures from all around. As soon as you win, the other party is going to get up and start shouting. But don't worry. Parties of... at least fortunately for cricket or wherever it's in the world, there are no parties within that cricket board, and I hope they're all looking towards that. And if they can stick to this side, there will be an improvement with this side. I have no doubts in my mind.
That is so true. Shakib is perhaps the right leader to mentor this side, take them to the next level. As you said, the rebuilding phase, if it has to start, Shakib has to lead it.
There is no doubt about it. I mean, only if you look at Shakib's, why we saw presence of mind under pressure when there was Tikshana and Kusal, Karunaratne and Nikshana.
Yeah, he could have gone to either end.
He could have gone to either way, and the easier option would have been to go to Tikshana's end. But there was presence of mind under pressure. It just tells you that he has quality. I mean, it's not that only one incident proves, but throughout this time we've seen Shakib is their main player. I mean, probably the greatest player of Bangladesh could have ever played. Maybe the amount of runs, 6,000
plus
runs with more than 200 wickets. So all of that is aside, but he has the capability of leading the side, and when you want to rebuild your side, I think you have to back your players. It cannot happen. You cannot keep changing players as you said, because then in that process you will lose games, you will win games. There will be big performances, there will be bad performances, but in all of that you have to provide that security. And that security can be provided only by a leader who's sure of his place in that side, and that is Shakib Ul Hasan. So I think that's when the rebuilding process starts.
That is so true. A sense of security, especially in a team that hasn't won a lot, that has a lot of question marks, becomes all the more important. And if the leader is secure, that's the first box ticked. And then, of course, you make the entire team secure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because and the one thing with this Bangladesh team is, as you said, that they've got a good group. It's not like they don't have the talent in their tank. They have some great talent, and we saw so much of it.
And in fact, if you see, there's no Liton Das here. So
there's no Liton Das. The
guys who are capable of it, Mushrafir, who we've seen in the past, he's not in his best form. Shakib, as a batsman, is not in his best form. So in your batting, whichever is your worry, you still are not seeing their best. So when they do their best, or when they come to their best, your batting is anyway going to go forward. It's your bowling that overseas you never had seamers, or you didn't think of a team, where you could use 3 seamers. So for me, that is a key moment in their team. I mean, even with Indian cricket now, we are so used to seeing 5 seamers, 4 seamers in a test match. But just to think to play the third at one time was a big moment in Indian cricket. Yes, you need to have talent, I understand. But unless you start promoting those, the kids who are playing the next generation don't want to do that. Because everybody wants to be part of that team and be playing in there. So you look at what's happening as a team, and the people who are honing their skills don't try and hone those skills. They try and hone the skills that gets you into that team. So with 3 seamers playing today and all 3 different kinds, there's a variety as well. Yeah. So I look at this Bangladesh side and look at it and say, listen, there's nothing short here. You got pace in that. You got Mustafir, who's, on his own, he's of no use as a seamer in your side. But when he's playing with Tuskin and him, 3 of them, they all bowl differently. They all showed, Tuskin showed, glimpses of little batting today. He can add right at the end. Spin, of course, you have Shakibul Hasan. Yeah. So you got 4 pure bowlers here, and then you can play with any spinner that you want. Then you've got enough batting in there. Yeah. So what is missing? There is nothing missing in this side. It's just a matter of time that this team will, I only see them go in the direction which is up and not down from where they are now. Well, and it's tough to go down further from here, right?
When you hit rock bottom, the only way you go is up.
There isn't. So it's a good call to make anyway. Yeah. No, but there is talent, and we've seen these guys, and there is enough passion in this country.
Yeah.
I mean, the fans that come out and the support that you get in Bangladesh for cricket. So I have a feeling that, it'll probably take a year or 2. But now that they've settled with a coach outside, there's a director who's ready to go out there and fight for them. Because don't forget, I mean, in the morning we were discussing, and I didn't talk about it much because I don't think directors should get involved in that. Yeah. But from a point of view as a player from Bangladesh, if I'm saying, yeah, this guy was fighting for us when we were out and out there. Yeah. We weren't looking like a team that was going to compete, and he went out, and whether it's right, wrong, that's my opinion. But from a player's point of view, so I'm saying I can see things that where you see now, it's all getting ready. Mm-hmm. And once they get ready, these guys can topple, and they've toppled teams in the past. So I wish them luck. They're going home, but go home happy. Don't worry. Yeah. It's a sport. All can't qualify. Someday you'll win.
But Sri Lanka have qualified. They've made it to the Super 4. Now, in that schedule, the one thing that's striking is that Sri Lanka play back-to-back. They play on Wednesday and Thursday. Now, in this heat where we've seen bowlers aplenty, players aplenty getting cramps, that's going to be a huge ask.
Oh, that's... I didn't notice that.
And their second game is India.
That's
so they come in
7th they play, and 8th also they play.
Yeah, but I think most teams, if you look at it, 4th, 6th, and India's playing 8th. Well, India's got a better schedule. Yeah, you're right.
So, and they perhaps play Pakistan.
They play a day after. So they played today, and now they have to play Afghanistan day after, right?
Yeah.
So only 1 day break first.
Yeah.
And then they get what?
They get a decent break. But
then they have a break.
But they play Pakistan and India back-to-back. I mean, A2, we're assuming, will be Pakistan.
Yeah.
So that makes it Pakistan and India back-to-back.
Yeah, that's tough.
That's a tough one for Sri Lanka.
That's a tough one.
But
and they are host.
That's why. But see, host hota na, आदमी सबसे last में रोटी खाता ना, दूसरे को आराम से.
There is another thing also here. Look at that. They've qualified as B2.
Yeah.
In that group, there is
Afghanistan. Sure, Afghanistan's been
Afghanistan.
You got to give it to them.
Give it to them. I mean, they've earned their position of, they've beat Bangladesh and Sri Lanka.
Both
and very, very handsomely. So they deserve it. But yeah, Sri Lanka, it's going to be tough for them. It's not easy. I don't, even domestic cricket, when we've played back-to-back T20s, it was tough. Even if
in that
kind of hit and that kind of under pressure.
I tell you, these youngsters, how they talk. We used to play back-to-back one-day matches here.
Wow.
But the intensity wasn't the same. You didn't run all the time. You weren't sprinting around. Yeah. The game was slower. Yeah, it is tough. Back-to-back, anything is back-to-back is tough. You go out partying tonight, can you go out partying tomorrow night?
He can, I've heard.
Ask him, I've been sleeping. Ask him.
Oh, he was?
The young man is not keeping up, man.
I can't keep up with him. Look at him. Look at the youngster. I can't keep up with him.
Actually.
Keep the intensity low. You can carry.
I had to recover. I had to sleep 12 hours last night
to recover from the first party.
It's a tough one. I mean, Sri Lanka, but hosts always have to be, you know, the ones who have to.
आखिरी रोटी खाने वाले.
भैया गेस्ट आए पहले उनका ध्यान रखोगे हमारा. आप भी ऐसे सोचा करो हमारे लिए.
मैं तो पहले ही खा लेता हूँ. मेरे को भूख लगती है बहुत, और अगर भूख लग जाती है तो फिर थोड़ा वैसे भी यहाँ कम है वो और कम चलने लग जाता है. But then that's what makes the Super 4 from Group B. Group A still has one slot to go into that Super 4, for which Pakistan and Hong Kong play this game. The last game in this group stage, Pakistan play Hong Kong in Group A game in Sharjah. Now, Pakistan are coming off a defeat against India. It was a very close game. Hong Kong are also coming off a defeat. But Pakistan would like to make a statement here against Hong Kong.
Without a doubt, there is no doubt about it that Pakistan will come out and play the way an international side should play. I mean, there is no doubt about it, and obviously, you know, cricket is a funny game, but you know, it's very unlikely that Pakistan will lose to Hong Kong. Hong Kong showed great spirit against India. I thought, you know. They didn't give more than 200 runs when they came out to bat. They came out positively. They didn't get all out. They just lost 5 wickets. So yes, Hong Kong is again, you know, they're what we call the minnows. They are, you know, the lesser experienced side.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, from Hong Kong's point of view, they would be thinking again, here's we've got another opportunity. We would like to go out there and enjoy the game, have fun. Result, obviously, I mean, it will be in the favor of Pakistan of 99.99%.
Yeah.
I mean, just because of the uncertainty of the game.
Unless it rains.
In Dubai, in Sharjah.
No, I mean, that is more of a possibility than Hong Kong beating.
That's true. But on Pakistan, AJ, would Pakistan also want to send a statement to India by being perhaps more ruthless against Hong Kong? They'd say, we'll come out with our full might, and we'd like to make this a one-sided game to perhaps send a message to India.
Yeah, they could, you know, they're likely to do that, and they could do that, or on the other side, they could, you know, just rest a lot of fast bowlers, because, you know, this cramp business in this tournament is hurting a lot of teams. So, you know, they might just rest and say, we don't need our best side. And, you know, rain is a better chance of beating Pakistan than Hong Kong.
Yeah.
So, one is what you say. The other is that you might, you know, rest a lot of guys. And if you have, I'm not 100% sure on the team that Pakistan has brought. If there are young guys who've not had the opportunity to get them in, what would you want to do? Because Hassan Ali was there, you know, star at one time.
Yeah.
So maybe if you want, so I would, you know, if I was Pakistan and if I was wanting to plan for the game against India or Afghanistan, the guys, if I had thought that I'm going to change somebody and bring them in, I would bring them into this game.
Okay.
And get them into this game, get them into, you know, the feel of the ground, the wicket, and get them into form. But if you're going to play with that same side, which you played against India last time, then exactly what you said. Just go out there and try and finish this game off as soon as possible. And those seamers would not look for the toes and look for the nose.
I think it's a great point. I mean, someone like
also because they just have 1 day's break between this game and the game against
India. Someone like Hassan Ali, someone like Mohammad Hasnain, they've not been playing that much of cricket. They've not been playing that much of T20 cricket. So it's a great opportunity to have a game under their belt. And you never know, in this cramp and all of that, someone might just get injured. So then you have a player who's ready, who already has a game under his belt. So I think.
So could you perhaps sit Naseem Shah out then? Oh, I mean, rest him because there's an India game on Sunday. You think?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously that's the point. Naseem Shah also made his debut, so it's not that. But still, I would want that Hassan Ali or maybe Mohammad Hasnain, who's got a proper pace, another fast bowler. So you know, maybe try a couple of them. More than try, it's just give them a game.
Yeah.
Just give them a game. That's something they might. I would have tried to do that.
We'll leave the trying to India.
Yeah.
Because India will keep trying.
As GK would say, naughty.
Naughty. We're all being naughty.
But if you have a look at the Hong Kong squad, of course there was a lot of promise against India with the ball. They were competitive with the bat. They weren't pulled out. They scored 155. So they did their bit. This again is a chance, and perhaps the last one in this Asia Cup, to show that they belong at this big stage, that they can still perform, and they've got the quality to do it.
I'm not too sure about the quality, but they would want to do it. They'd like to do it. They'd want to show that, you know, that wasn't one-off, that we weren't bowled out by India in the 20 overs. It wasn't one-off that we held them back till that period. Whereas the way I see it, I think the quality sometimes the numbers flatter you, like what's happened with our friend from Sri Lanka today, Mendes. People who haven't watched the game looked at the game and says, "Oh, 37 balls, 60. Wow, what good knock." So similarly, I think India in that first 10 overs had a lot to do with what was in our minds.
All right.
Whether it was KL Rahul, who's not had a go for such a long time, Virat Kohli, who's been in a indifferent form, or whatever it's called, Rohit Sharma had got out early. So it wasn't the true reflection the way I see it.
Okay.
So quality-wise, I think they're still far behind, but they'd love to do it. They would want to repeat it, and why not? I mean, they don't have to look at it the way I'm looking at the game. They've got to dream big and say, listen, we have this opportunity. We almost had India.
Yeah.
Pakistan anyway slips on the banana peel very often. So maybe we can, lay that out today and something would go wrong. But first you got to eat that banana to put that peel out.
Yeah, I mean, more than from Hong Kong's point of view, it won't be about numbers. It will more be about gaining confidence and going back. I mean, if you want to make a statement, maybe 3 years for that. That's a long. For them, it's a long-term investment. It's not just short-term. That's something which they would want to do. It maybe gain confidence, maybe inspire other people who are playing in Hong Kong with the good performance. Maybe try and inspire youngsters who are playing in Hong Kong and try and get that game more seriously. So that's something which I would think that try and produce a performance which can be say superstar kind of performance, which the captain did against India, where he scored 92 in Asia Cup. So Nizakat Khan. So that's something that kind of performance from someone could just inspire the young generation, which is still playing club cricket or anything in Hong Kong.
Correct. The stage is big. The spotlight is set. Hong Kong would like to try these players again one last time in this Asia Cup. As the prediction here goes, perhaps they play Pakistan, two big teams they played. They'll go back with a lot of experience, but they've got those names there, and those names would be itching to go out there on the big stage. They've played 3 months of continuous cricket to get here. A lot of them are playing with niggles. A lot of them are playing with injuries. This is their chance to shine again. Now, towards the end of the game, Kusal Mendes was asked about the no ball, and he said it was a good option. I got to bat again. I had 2 chances, so today was my day. So he kind of agreed to that. He's also player of the match in this game. But whose day was it today in terms of the joy factor question? Did we crack it? Let's see what the answer is first. But the question, joy factor question for the day. Now, this was a tricky one because it had to do with insects. It had to do with England and Australia. Now, the question, I mean, it was around that nickname, but I kind of peeped into the answer. So first we'll look at the question. Which former English cricketer was given his nickname of an insect by the Australian team as he was so hard to stump out? Okay, he was so hard to stump out. What can the nickname be? Let's just guess.
Tough one, I mean.
Tough one, no?
Yeah.
I have to first know what insect is. What are the insects?
Machhar.
Kuch bhi.
Makhi.
Cockroach.
Fly. Cockroach.
Somebody who gets...
Cockroach would be a very, very bad name to give. Please.
Yeah.
I hope it's not cockroach.
It's an Englishman.
Yeah, it's an Englishman. Yeah.
No, it's an Englishman.
Yeah, an Englishman whose name was kept by the Australian. Let's say, yeah, सही बात है, जल्दी कर देते हैं. अब आंसर दिखा दीजिए. आंसर दिखा दीजिए. Michael Atherton, cockroach. So I guess the one part of it correct. I mean, not guess, but you asked insect, and my first answer was cockroach. So can I get half of it? No? Okay, let's see who the winner is. Let's see who got it right this time around. Hashtag Cricbuzz Live was the hashtag you had to use. Pravesh, congratulations, you got it right. We couldn't crack it. I couldn't even crack the question. So, yeah, well done. Well done, Pravesh. Congratulations on that. Before we wrap up, of course, on Kusal Mendes, just a bit. Now, Kusal Mendes has said that I got those chances. I was very lucky. And when you got, as PPPedia said on Combox, he said, वो कहते हैं ना दही खा के आए हैं. उन्होंने कहा आज दही मिला है तो लस्सी बना लो पूरी. And he did that. And he's milked his chances. And this would give him a lot of confidence going in as well.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, because no matter how you've been in there, how many times you've been dropped, or you were out and not given out, or no balls that have gone in your favor, at the end of the day, you still got the other balls to play. You middled some. You stayed in the game. So you've gone through a different phases of, pressures. When you start off, there's runs not being scored or partners have got out. So you've gone through all of those that you would have normally got when you would have got to 60.
Yeah.
So if you're a positive frame of mind person, you'd look at it and say, listen, even on my bad day, if I can get to 60 of these balls, imagine.
And get a player of the match.
And get a player of the match.
Despite those 4
So
things.
imagine what I can do on my good day.
Yeah.
And maybe today will be my good day. So one is good day externally, which he had. Maybe the next day is going to be a good day for him internally. You know, as PPPD often says, it's the external voice and the internal. Sorry,
voice.
whatever. The line is his. It's the thought. What is it?
Yeah, it's either outside noise that doesn't matter. It's the inside noise that matters.
Wow.
So what Kushal Mendes
That baritone is
actually
back.
thinks
It's,
inside about that knock will really matter next time. But yes, confidence for sure, runs on board. No matter what team, what happens, runs on board, time spent in the middle will always make you feel better the next time.
Good day for Kusal Mendes, good day for Asita Fernando, good day for Sri Lanka. Well, a goodish day for Bangladesh as well. They may have crashed out, but they did put in all their hard work in this game. They, of course, have crashed out of this Asia Cup. Sri Lanka have made it to the Super 4. We're very happy right here because we talk cricket every day. So it's been a happy day for us. But watching such a close game was a very happy experience. Hope you enjoyed our coverage on Cricbuzz Live. That's all that we have time for this evening. I think we should go. Should go? No other business? No other business?
Are you thinking
no other
of doing
question?
something else? Are you thinking of doing something else here also now?
No, we'll go, no.
Then we should go.
Anyway, you've slept 12 hours, so we can go.
It's Hong Kong game tomorrow.
It's Hong Kong game tomorrow.
So Chinese food tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah, done. All right, so we'll go order Chinese food. You guys have a good night's sleep. Thank you so much, AJ. Thank you so much, PPPD, for joining us. Thank you so much to all of you as well. We'll see you, of course, in the game between Pakistan and Hong Kong. That starts tomorrow. My name is Tanay Tiwari. You guys are watching Cricbuzz Live. See you super soon.